By the way, as he pointed out to me when I asked him about this, he goes, I finished the interview.
I'm a pro.
We all love a good bromance,
yes.
Obviously, right? So we thought we would, before we showed the interview, we would show a few of our all-time favorite NBA bromances.
Yeah.
So we got to start with Charles and Micheal.
Which Charles? Oh, Barkley.
Aww. Look at this.
Mike had a lot of friends.
He did, but
Mike had a lot of friends, and there were some allegations from some people that friendship was actually a Machiavellian scheme to get inside guys' heads.
Next up, Dirk and Nash.
These guys are best bros for
Didn't
life.
they like dye their hair the same at one point or something?
Wasn't
there some tips?
The frosted tips.
The frosted tips.
What? You don't remember Steve when he had the frosted tips when he first got
look like Dirk.
The old Dallas jerseys, man.
Right?
The old Dallas jerseys.
A little peanut butter and jelly for you.
Yeah.
Aww.
Not peanut butter and jelly. What's the fish that he doesn't eat, but he does eat? Remember, Gabby was like, he doesn't eat that kind. He doesn't eat fish, and LeBron's like, no. Yes,
he does that kind of thing.
I mean, they were so good together.
Right? Aw.
Yeah, man.
All right. So last week we showed you part one of a conversation I had with the faces of the Raptors franchise, and now in part two, Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan talk about the pressure they feel this postseason, but also their friendship and how it got DeMar through a very difficult time this season. Watching the two of them together is amazing. Just take a look.
The Raptors complete the trifecta. Most wins in franchise history, most home wins in a season, and for the first time ever, the Toronto Raptors will win the Eastern Conference and finish #1 overall in the East in the regular season.
How much does it matter if you don't have the playoff success? I know that you guys have been so focused on.
Nothing matters.
No, we're playing for everything.
Yeah. Waste of a year.
You know,
waste of a year for us.
A waste of a year.
I mean, not a waste of a year, but it's a disappointing year. I mean, the playoffs.
It's a waste of a year.
Yeah, waste of a year.
Period. You know,
I mean,
we put in all this work, and you know, you want to compete for that championship. You know, and anything less is, you know, you go into the summer upset, thinking like, man, I got to do this all over again. Like,
we're right back down the bottom of the totem pole.
You listen to radio and TV up here, and the feeling is that you guys are not getting the respect you're due from the rest of the NBA. Do you guys feel that?
They always count. They always say, you know, myself and DeMar, we don't play well in playoffs. But at the end of the day, we've been to a conference finals. We've been to a second round. We've played the 5th most playoff games in the last whatever, how many years. Me personally, I don't pay attention to what people say.
I can tell from looking at you guys and knowing you guys that you've no doubt that when you look at each other, you're not like, oh, I don't know if I can count on him in a key moment.
No. I mean, we've had countless conversations. We've had countless FaceTime where we're talking and watching games. We've had countless just locker room talks. At the end of the day, and I've said it, and I'm always going to say it, I'm riding or die with this guy. And I know vice versa. And we ride or die with the other guys in our locker room.
Do you guys watch games at home and FaceTime each other?
Yeah. Our friendship ain't fake. At the end of the day, like, this is my brother. We're going to do everything to help each other. We're always going to be real with each other. And we're always going to have each other back. Your friendship has evolved, too. The first year you guys were here, I think you said at one point, you guys didn't even talk when you were off the court. You know, my first year here, he was already kind of embedded here, had his guys, and I was just here like, you know, I'm just a new guy. I'm just trying to find my way, and I'm going to be here a couple years and I'm out. So I ain't going to make it tight.
I didn't see him outside of work facility. Like,
ever.
I mean, I really didn't talk to him. I didn't have his number. I didn't go eat with him.
You didn't have his phone number?
No.
No, I didn't.
At all. We didn't have each other's number.
I didn't follow him on no Twitter,
Instagram, nothing.
Like,
nothing.
So what happened? What changed?
I don't know. I mean, but that's all we talk about. That's just the beauty of a friendship. You know, you think back to, you know, your closest friend. Could you pinpoint when or how y'all got cool, or when? You know, it just happened. You know, it was just one of those things, and you know, you look up and it's like, damn, I'm stuck with you.
DeRozan finds Lowry. That's a chemistry play right there.
All right, so I'm very cautious about ever using the word courage in sports because none of us are fighting fires here, right?
I agree.
But I do legitimately believe your friend over here did something very courageous earlier this year. What did it say to you about him when he was so open and sharing his struggles with depression and coming out and telling people it was okay to feel that way?
As a friend, you know, you know, we talk about things, but for him he understood that he could set a precedence for everybody else to be comfortable. This man is a 4-time All-Star, Olympian, franchise all-time leading scorer, this, that, and he showed the humility to be able to say, I'm human. I got a heart, I bleed, I got pain.
There was a time in sports where someone would come out and say that stuff, and the echo in the sports community would be like, oh, that's soft, or that's not manly, or any of that stuff. The reaction in the NBA has been the opposite of that. Is it what you expected?
No, I couldn't. I'd be lying to you if I told you it was what I expected. You know, because you talk to, you know, like I said, we talked about other things outside of basketball to where, you know, it was a point to where, you know, after a lot of games, he'd be like, man, that was back to reality, because he knew the court was my sanctuary, and that's why I freed my mind. It's like, man, it's back to reality. He just, you know, and it's like, so I just finally get to a point where I put it out there and you see the response you get back.
What inspired you to do it in the first place?
I think it was a moment of, like, you know, I was going through how I was feeling, and I think it was All-Star weekend. I was home. It's everybody pulling at you. You're dealing with all this. Everything's coming at you, and it's just, you know, I didn't have my sanctuary because we wasn't playing for the last couple of days, and, you know, you just had that moment and you lash out, and, you know, because I think I got to a point to where, like, I didn't care what people would think, calling it weak or whatever. It's like, I didn't.
The reaction that you got on the team, the fact that I know Kyle was right there with you and the other teammates were right there with you, has that drawn this team closer at all?
Hey, we always been close to, like, it's just to a fault.
I've never had a teammate come into our organization that we haven't, like, brought in as a brother. Yeah. And that's how we are. No matter who comes in, what comes in, you're going to be our family.
The first time the Raptors have ever won a playoff opener.
Does it feel to you guys like this is it? This is your window? This is your time?
Actually, I think we felt like that for a while now. We haven't executed it.
I mean, as long as you have that continuous opportunity, you know, you got to understand, you know, they don't come around too often, that we have another opportunity. This could be our last. We got to treat it like our last, you know. So, you know, to answer your question, most definitely, without doubt.
Big thanks to Kyle and DeMar for being so gracious with their time. They are also on the cover of ESPN magazine. I cannot recommend you guys picking up that magazine enough. Tracy, the Raptors core locked up the next couple of years, but is this now or never?
Right there,
oh no, this is this is now. This is now, because if you look at, you know, the last 3 years, I mean, we all had Cleveland coming out of the East. I mean, there's just no question about that. LeBron's greatness and the teams that, you know, him and Kyrie and Kevin Love, they're vulnerable this year. There's nobody that we can put in the Eastern Conference, right? So, with that being said, you have a window. Teams like this, they have a window. You look at the Boston with the Big Three when they got Kevin and Ray. They had that window of winning a championship. They won one championship. Detroit the same way. This is their window, you know, because players come and go, money changes, and this is their year. And unfortunately for them, Philly is coming. Boston is going to be better next year. So things are going to change next year. You have to capitalize, just what he said in this video, you have to capitalize on it right now. The time is now, because that window is really closing for them.
You know, Coach D'Antoni used to tell the story about Dan Marino, talking about he went to the Super Bowl in his second or third year in the league. They lost Super Bowl. Like, we'll get them next time, though. Never got back to the Super Bowl. So I don't want to say never, because, man, if y'all don't get it done this year, then it's a wrap. Break it up. But what they said in the piece, none of this is guaranteed. You don't know. I mean, think of Oklahoma City. They thought, man, we're going to go to the finals every year. KD and Russ.
Well, think about my situation. When I signed with Orlando to play with Grant Hill, I'm like, oh,
we are
man.
in.
I mean, that was supposed to be, like, every year. You guys are going to get a shot at it. And then, I don't want to rub it in.
I was going to say, it's Friday. This man is in the mood.
But again, and same thing for us in Phoenix. You know, you get a Robert Ory hip check, and he's like, that's all right. We're like one of the best teams in the year. We won 15 games in a row, and then 17 games in a row, and we had the best offense and a good enough defense. And then just things change, and people change, and people, it all changes. So we don't have any of this guaranteed. You got to go for it. Now, like Trey said, This is better than they've ever played before, one, and two, Cleveland is weaker than it's ever looked before.
And Boston is coming, and Philly is coming.
But,
interesting.
yeah.
All right, we got to get to Steph Curry because we got a big update on him next, right after the break.
Uh-oh. Is he chefing?
Back.